Hello, Korea. I am a fan of MTN, and I'm a big fan of Korea. The 19th century was the century of the UK. The 20th century was the century of the US. The 21st century is going to be the century of Asia because of what's happening. Many things are happening. Vietnam, many things are happening in Asia now. The West has huge debt. In Asia, there's still a lot more capital. You know, through most of the past few thousand years, Asia's been on top much more than the West. It's only been in recent years that the West has been on top. But Asia, I mean, India, China, Asian countries were much better off than most European countries for most of history. ASEAN has about 600 million people. Some of those countries are not nearly as developed as, say, Germany or America. And they have a strong savings base, large population, lots of natural resources, and they're starting to develop those natural resources, the large savings base, the large investment base. There's plenty of smart ASEAN citizens. I mean, Vietnam has a lot of smart people. Singapore, many smart people in ASEAN. The advice is to know your market, know what you're doing. Don't so wandering in there not knowing, don't know what chopsticks are. Don't go there not knowing what rice is. I live in Singapore. I moved to Singapore so that my children would know Asia and speak Mandarin. To me, it's very important that my children speak Mandarin because it's going to be the most important language in their lifetimes. That's why we're in Singapore. Other ASEAN countries have Vietnam, I'm very interested in. I have a few investments in Vietnam. I obviously am interested in Singapore. I'm a director of a company in Indonesia. Indonesia is pulling itself together, getting itself much more prosperous. ASEAN is much bigger potential. ASEAN has huge natural resources, agriculture, oil, metals, mining. There are many opportunities in the ASEAN nations. So yes, South Korea can make a fortune. You have great manufacturing ability, which many of the ASEAN countries do not have yet. So you can take a lot there. You can take your brains, you can take your capital, you can take your manufacturing ability, and you can make great inroads into ASEAN. And it's a very wise policy because it is a big market which is changing and opening up, and there will be great opportunities for South Korea in ASEAN. You know, if you know your population, you know what they want and need, you'll probably make a lot of money, especially if you get involved with knowledgeable, smart, sophisticated partners. You'll do very well. You should do very well in a market like ASEAN, which is now beginning to grow and prosper.